Now, fair warning to those who complain that the subjects I cover on this show are often too dark and disturbing. If you feel that way, you're not going to like this segment. And I say that in order to give you time to bail out now if you want. For those who remain, here's a headline that sounds like something that a mentally ill Babylon Bee writer might come up with in the middle of a LSD-induced psychotic break. Here's the headline. Trans YouTuber Chris Chan, 39, is listed as female in police report and will be jailed with women despite arrest for raping her dementia sufferer mother, 79. Now, unfortunately, although there is indeed plenty of mental illness involved in this story, it is not satire. An apparently well-known YouTube personality and webcomic creator was allegedly caught on tape admitting to raping his own elderly mother. And because this monster now claims to be a woman, he is being housed with actual women in a women's prison. The Daily Mail has more, though I warn you that the details are extremely difficult to stomach. Here's what it says. Transgender YouTuber Chris Chan, 39, was identified as female by police and will be housed with women despite being biologically male after she was arrested for raping her mother. The vlogger and artist, who goes by Christine Weston Chandler, was arrested after leaked phone calls allegedly revealed her admitting to raping her mother, 79, who suffers from dementia. Chandler is biologically male but came out as transgender at the end of 2014. Chandler's arrest came just days after a phone call was leaked on an instant messaging platform on which a person believed to be Chandler seemingly admitted to having sex with her elderly mother, who is believed to have dementia. During the 8-minute conversation, Chandler apparently tells a friend that it was her mother, Barbara, who made the first move, leading the two to kiss, according to the audio file which Newsweek reported. As the call continues, the person said to be Chandler says that she and her mother now have a routine where they have sex every third night, and that her mother enjoys it. That's as far as I could possibly go there. You'll notice how the Daily Mail has taken great care to ensure that they respect the pronouns of this alleged rapist. Newsweek, Yahoo News, the New York Post, every other media outlet that's reported on the story, they've all done the same. A man's feelings must still be respected even after he sexually assaults his own mother, it would seem. Never mind the fact that Chris Chan is not only a deviant rapist, allegedly, but also clearly insane. I pulled his most recent YouTube video before his arrest to give you an idea. And not that you probably needed any convincing about his dire mental state, but here it is anyway. Watch.
Listen here and listen good. I have told y'all, and I kept it going time and time again, but y'all keep putting it on. But My Little Pony Generation 5 is canceled. G4, Friendship is Magic, needs its 5 more seasons. It needs to go on to season 14. Now, this is the last straw. Because for the good and safety of this timeline, you need to get that pulled off of shelves in Amazon stores or wherever else.
I can stop it there. So you get the idea. As best I can, well, you probably don't get the idea at all. As best as I can tell, he's yelling at Hasbro about My Little Pony, which is yet more confirmation for my position that adults who watch cartoons are weird, probably not this weird, but weird. And yet somehow we're supposed to believe that the self-identification of this raving lunatic rapist, allegedly, is a serious and meaningful insight and not just another of his deranged hallucinations. Many people on the internet certainly believe that, which is why social media in the aftermath of his arrest and the reporting on the story have largely been more upset at the people who misgender Chris Chan than they are at Chris Chan for sexually violating his elderly mother. More importantly, the court system takes this delusional predator seriously to the point of housing him in a prison with actual women. And by the way, a large portion of the women in any prison are going to be sexual abuse survivors. And now they're going to be locked in a cell with a large, unstable, accused rapist. This is certainly a violation of the constitutional protections against cruel and unusual punishment, and it's even more certainly a violation of basic common sense and human decency. But here's what makes all this even more disturbing, if it's possible for it to get more disturbing. Millions of Americans, those on the ideological left, do not possess the moral or intellectual framework to object to most aspects of this story. They cannot object and do not object to a male sex predator being housed with women. And he is not the only male sex predator to be housed with women in women's prisons. This is happening across the country. And that's bad enough on its own. But they also can't really object even to incest in and of itself. Now, in this case, the victim has dementia, which means that she cannot consent, which means everyone agrees that it's a horrific crime. And yet, if it weren't for the dementia, then the leftist worldview would say that it is simply a choice that two people who love each other have made, and it isn't hurting anyone, and we have no room to judge their lifestyle. It's true that most leftists are not at the point where they're going to openly defend consensual incest, but their worldview leads to that conclusion inevitably, inescapably. Everything they say about sexuality lays the groundwork. They have no basis to object to incest if it's consensual, and they know it. They have no basis to object to any sexual activity or lifestyle at all, as long as it passes the consent test. Now, this one doesn't, and so they're saved from having to defend the most revolting aspect of this story, but they still have to and do defend the rest of it. What do we make of that? How do we go forward as a country knowing that when half of us hear a story about a man who rapes his elderly mother and is sent to a women's prison, we can only object to part of it, and even then the objection is qualified and conditional? Well, I'm not sure that we do go forward as a country, ultimately. The chasm between us is vast and deep and cannot be traversed. There is no middle ground or compromise between the two sides. We can barely see each other across the divide. And all we can hear is unintelligible shouting, which is why all anyone does anymore is shout, because we are so far apart. And that's why literally everyone involved in this story is, of course, I don't think I even need to say it, canceled. But the good news, well, I wish I could end on good news, but I'm not sure there is any good news we could pull from all of that. You can go somewhere else for your portion of good news for the day. What I can give out with this story are cancellations, and I certainly hand them out with a vengeance. Listen, hit that subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It is somewhat appreciated.